Yes, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to Football Heritage TV. Today, as always, it's Tuesday. We've invited the Calf along and we've invited Kuva along. We've got a fun mixture of things to talk about. Gentlemen, with your beards, how are you today?
It's the bearded trio. We're like ZZ Top.
It's all about the beards. It's all about the beards.
Without the
beard
talent.
was great. Who's who?
The
Put it in
bearded
the
wonders.
comments. Which member of ZZ Top is who?
Second episode of The Only Way is XG as well. How can you not be,
Yes.
The Only Way is XG, the only show that's got a title that is never to be seen anywhere. We just call it that in the background. Guys, it's Tottenham. It's always fun at Tottenham, isn't it? Like, it's never dull. It's never, ever dull. Even when we're losing, it's fun. Even when we're winning, it's fun. Transfer windows are fun. We love it, don't we? We're happy to be Spurs fans?
Nah.
No. Okay. All right. It is what it is. It is what it is. Guys, I'm sure a lot of people are going to take the title of this show seriously. And the title of this show is Spurs' worst start to a season for 17 years. And before any of you ever go at me, I'm just stating some facts. And that's the facts. Let me start, guys. It's really interesting, isn't it? And I do want to keep this quite light-hearted, but I do find it really interesting that the vibe of the fans, the feeling at the club, isn't quite matching the results and the output of the club. I can't wrap my head around it. I've never seen a club that have such strange results, but yet the manager is loved so much. The new signings are loved, even though they're not playing. I can't work out, Kuva, what's going on at Tottenham Hotspur. Is it just me? I just can't work it out.
Nah, I've
Yeah,
been saying
it
it great.
is, Savva.
Yeah, it's been like it for a long time, hasn't it? The sense of direction. What direction?
Yeah.
Even ever since this chairman's taken over, I don't know what we're trying to do.
No. Absolutely. But do you get my point? Like, in terms of, listen, I woke up this morning and the first message I read was, you are the most toxic fan at Spurs. You're the reason the club are toxic. And I was like, that's nice to wake up to, and that's mild. But what is going, Ben? What's going on? Like, the results aren't great. The form hasn't been great for nearly a year now, but the vibe is really good and everyone's happy. What are we doing? Do we not care about success anymore? Are we literally just about vibes?
I think we're in a river in Egypt. I think we're in denial.
Sure.
I think people are so desperate after, 2008, 17 years since we won a trophy. I think people are so desperate to just love a manager. They're just going to love him for the sake of it. And it's just, they can't see. They've seen what Arteta's done at Arsenal.
Yeah.
And they're thinking process. This is why I think Tottenham fans and Arsenal fans, this current generation of both sets of fans, are very similar. They're using buzzwords to get through the denial of this team, and they're not a good football team. They're really not a good football team. Process, patience, all these letters, all these words,
are
just buzzwords to make it seem like, oh, we're going somewhere. Go on the journey. Look how much time Arteta's had. Look how much money they spent on them. Yeah, all these little excuses and buzzwords.
Yeah.
They seem to have forgotten this manager has never been in a job more than 3 years. So how much time? Because if you go by, that is a fact, by the way, that he's never been in a job more than 3 years. And the last, and that was the last one he did. That I think the longest he spent in a job was the Australian national team job. He spent 3 years and some. He never spends more. So if you're going by history and you're going by facts and you're going by data, surely the results have got to start happening now. The results
very quickly.
They've got to start, because I know we've got a perennial manager's only last 18 months at Spurs since Pochettino. Pochettino was the last long-term manager, and it all fell off a cliff because the man at the top didn't decide to reload or rebuild the team in Pochettino's image, because the players were done. They were done after that Champions League run. They were exhausted. They were spent creatively.
Yeah.
If you take it by Ange, they've got to start winning now. if you go by his history, otherwise this is going to be Ange's first job that he spent more than 3 years in a job with, and I don't see a 58, 59-year-old manager going on a long-term project. Call that what you want. I think at his age, he's going to start thinking, I want one more big job. And he said it himself, my last job in management, I want to go and manage in Greece because he sees himself as a very proud Greek man. He wants to go and manage a team he grew up supporting. So
I'll pay for a ticket for him to go to Greece. I've got some money in the bank. I'll pay for that. I don't mind.
Would you though?
Yeah. Yeah. If somebody said to me today, he's going to take the AEK Athens job, for example, but
which is what he wants, by the way. Great college, football heritage.
But Daniel Levy won't. Daniel Levy won't pay for him to go out there. I'll pay for it.
And leaving, sponsored by Football Heritage TV.
I still think, Savva, you'd still buy him a better flight than Ryanair, because if Levy was going to get rid of him, he'd only get him on Ryanair. At least we'd give him like a Wizz Air or an EasyJet.
No, Ben, I'm doing a 24-hour charity stream, and I'm buying him a first-class ticket out to Greece. Don't you worry about Wizz Air, mate. I mean, Kuva, look, it's really interesting. I want to read you. This is a comment I got. I'm not going to use names. No one would know. And by the way, this person's name is just a mixture of letters and numbers. So take it as you will. This is the message I just got 20 minutes ago on YouTube. And it says, having been a Spurs fan for 65 years, I absolutely detested the Mourinho and Conte eras. Ange has brought back a style that is very entertaining and at times frustrating. Now, here's the sentence I want you to talk about, Kuva. Ange is a proven project manager and must be given time to succeed. Kuva, the facts don't suggest he is a project manager. As Ben said, I looked at his tenure this morning. He's never been anywhere more than 3 years, more than 36 months. Where is this notion that he's going to be here for 6-7 years and he's a project manager and we need to give him the time Arteta's had? What's going on?
It's obvious, isn't it? It just means a very quick project.
Yeah.
You can do that in and out. I've done a few of those.
We've all had a bit of in and out in our lives. Don't worry about that.
Not enough.
Good burgers.
Yeah, you're right though. It's let's face it. He is a manager that's actually trying to prove himself in the Premiership. There's no track record here. Same as many players come over and have to do the same thing as well. They're no different. If you're going to have to take a long-term approach to a club, like I do believe is necessary with us, because we are not going to bankroll the signing of mega stars coming in overnight. We're clearly not doing that, so we need a longer-term role. But he clearly isn't a longer-term manager, so it doesn't fit. I've been saying this all along as well. Not lots of us have. What Ange offers isn't the same as what the chairman provides. It doesn't make sense. It makes more sense to have a Pochettino or a Nagelsmann or somebody like that that's going to bring through these developing youth players, give them a long shot. But I mean, he's showing so far he's very reluctant to give them a chance.
Yeah.
Where do we go? There's no sort of blueprint we can say, oh, this is the Ange way in the Premiership. You can have a look at what he's done at previous clubs and say that's what he'll bring. But there's no evidence that it works here. If anything, you'd say now the evidence is it's not going to work here. I think you and I, Savva, we fell into that age-old trap on the weekend, didn't we? We suddenly thought the club's better than what it actually is. And we didn't think we could lose it a week in Brighton side.
It was the first time I've been really confident going into a game. I'm always told, you're negative. The weekend, we sat there, didn't we, and said, I just can't see how we lose this. So, we're in good form. Brighton have got half their first team out through injuries. They've got a 19 and a 20-year-old playing in central midfield. And Tottenham have got Bentancur, Kulu and Maddison, who everyone's telling me is the greatest midfield three since Xavi, Iniesta and Busquets. Slight exaggeration. And then we go and lose the game. But, Kuva, you can see from the screen here that in all those jobs, the only job where he's had real tenure is the Australia under-20 job, which was 2001 to 2007. And again, when you're the under-20s manager, that's not hundreds of games, is it? As you can see, it's 34 games in 6 years. As far as a club manager goes, the most games he's ever had as a club manager is Yokohama Marinos in 161 games. 161 games for Yokohama. Other than that, it's all been littered between 30 games and 113 games, other than that outlier. So I think, Ben, Kuva makes a great point there that if we're going to talk about people saying, oh, well, he's bought the young players because this is a project and you've got to, people are telling fans like us, you've got to see the bigger picture. We're bringing these youth players for the future, but we've hired a manager that doesn't stick around. It's a bit like the Conte situation again. Conte wasn't a manager that sticks around for a project for 3 years. People are going, we're building with him. Something doesn't add up, Ben. It doesn't add up to me.
I think people are so... I think this is what people want, but then we want a project. We love the project under Pochettino. We love the project. We love managers that stick around for a long time. Terry Venables was around for a few years as well. We love managers that are here for... Bill Nicholson was here for donkey's years. We love those managers because historically we are a club that actually thrives on having a manager for 6, 7, 8 years. We thrive on that because we do actually bring players through the academy. We do have a history of bringing great players through the academy. We've had the Harry Kanes, we've got Mikey Moore now that's in the team, and we've got a few young players hovering around on loan places. So this is, I think, what fans want. This is not the manager. If you wanted a project manager, you want a Graham Potter. That is a sensible manager for a project because he has experience at Ostersund's, Brighton. That is what he did.
Yeah.
He made Ostersund's a team that was in the Arctic Circle into the team that won the Swedish League. I know it's the Swedish League, but he still took a 3rd division Swedish team in the Arctic Circle in -40 into the top team in the league. That is a project. Making that to that. That is a project.
And did a really good job at Brighton over the years. He did a really good job at Brighton.
Ange is a win now manager because he says, I always win in my 2nd season. He is a win now manager. And that is, you brought that up, his history. It's a fact. He is a win now manager. Take over, put in his set of ideals in the 1st season, win in the 2nd season, win in the 3rd season. If he gets a 1st season, go, next project. He is a win now manager. That's what history tells you.
Yeah.
So we've got a club that wants a project, but's not bringing in the right project manager. So it doesn't work. There are two sides of the seesaw.
I mean, absolutely right. Kuva, you said something at the beginning. Look, again, since these owners have come in, it's constant. Like we can all argue, we can all debate. You're negative, you're positive, you're a real fan, you're a fake fan. You don't like this. We can argue what we want, Kuva, but at the end of the day, it's yet another. It's like magnets trying to stick together, and they're not going together. We've got young players for a win now manager. We've got fans that believe we're on a long-term project, whereas the manager or the owners have never actually come out and said, this is a long-term project. Are we just a bit of a mess as a club in general in terms of that there's no leadership? There's no one coming out and saying, this is the plan. And that has mirrored all the way through, Kuva, to the pitch, where there's no real leadership on the pitch either. Are we a rudderless ship?
Absolutely. Leadership starts at the top. It has to.
Yeah.
The man that controls everything, has the power over everything that happens at the club. Surely it's his job to relay his vision of where we're going. And I don't believe in that vision. I haven't for a long time now. Pochettino gave me help. So did Redknapp, as with a lot of us. Even Martin Jol sort of rescued the club at that point when he took over. But right now, I think we are summed up by that Brighton performance. There's that first half where you think, I understand this now. This is working. Yeah. This is really working. And then suddenly, lights out. Nobody gives a shit in the second half. Yeah. Rudderless, gutless, no direction, no sense of style, no passion, no commitment, no leadership, no everything that you'd expect from your football team was missing there.
Yeah,
and it was all of the players. I'll leave out maybe Solanke because how can you really blame him when nobody even managed to get the ball to him? Yeah. So you can't even judge him on the second half. That Well,
Only
you'd say
20
the same Brennan
touches
Johnson as
the
well.
entire game for Solanke. Only 20 touches.
Yeah.
We'll come back to Solanke, but a point on that, Kuva, I'll let you finish in a second. The point on that is, again, Solanke, we seem like we bought him and we're playing him in attacking midfield. It seems like he's everywhere other than centre forward. And the whole thing I heard last year was, we haven't got a centre forward. We need a number 9. We bring him in. The 3 furthest players forward for Spurs at the weekend were Johnson, Maddison, and Timo Werner. It wasn't even Solanke. Sorry. Go back to your point, Kuva.
Well, in a way, it's working because we are scoring goals. So,
sure,
you could argue that it was needed. It's that bit that we didn't have since Harry Kane left. That somebody could drop into that deeper role and pick up a bit of space and do something useful with the ball. He's been doing that well, but
I'd like a striker in the box every now and then.
Funny enough, what we need at the moment is a Brennan Johnson on the left wing as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because at least he is finding the goal. So if you can do that. I mean, Firmino used to do this for Liverpool, didn't he? He dropped in.
He was superb.
Salah and Mane would just be running riot. And So you could work this sort of thing, and perhaps you could even argue Brennan Johnson's fulfilling that role himself.
Yeah, you could.
Well, the goals certainly help, don't they? But yeah, there's just something it's been missing at this club for a long time. Proper leadership on the pitch. I'm thinking of the last captain I would call a proper captain.
Yeah.
For me, I have to go back to Michael Dawson.
Yeah.
I agree.
Scotty Parker, that's another one. Good captain material.
Yeah.
They're hard to pick at this club, but we do this constantly. Everybody's a friend on the same level. It doesn't matter, does it? Somebody's got to be the scary character there that's going to actually, yell at people till they actually do their jobs. Because that second half, then this does come heavily down on Ange as well. When you see a team failing to respond up when put under pressure like that, something's got to be shaken up and shaken up quickly. Either your captain on the pitch is doing that and putting the fear of God in the players, or the manager's got to change something. And we did neither. It was embarrassing.
I was just watching the boys over at Tottenham on tour, my fellow Tottenham on Torians. And one thing that Johnny mentioned is that the moment we conceded that goal, we kicked off very quickly after conceding that goal. Why? This is all down to, I know it's not quite dark arts, but it's not quite. It's just when you've just conceded a goal and you're under the cosh, you get together and you say, boys, come on.
Yes. Yeah. Calm down. Yeah.
Come on. Yeah. Calm down. We're still in the lead. Let's manage this. Let's drop back and show some personal responsibility. But I don't think the manager's telling them to show. I think the manager is telling them that this is the way we play and there's no room for sort of trying to manage a game and see a game out. Because if a Conte team was 2-0 up and they had this football team, they just second half, they're shutting up shop. We saw it against Leicester in one of Jose's team last seasons. Scored 3 goals in the first half against Leicester, 10 men behind the ball in the second half. That's what you do. You manage the game. Then
again, we even saw that with the Conte team with this club, didn't we?
Yeah.
Go 2-0 up and fail to win it. Was it Southampton that came back?
Southampton, it was Southampton. But these players are a lot better than those players. Defend quality-wise, these players are a lot better.
Agreed. The quality that this manager's got.
Going, calm down, boys. We've made a massive mistake in any job in the world. If you make a massive mistake, like if I've given someone a wrong coffee, I pull myself over and say, Ben, pull yourself together, and then you get back to the line. You say, let's calm it down. It was only a mistake. Mistakes happen.
Well, look,
let's go away straight away. We don't seem to think about what we've done after we've made a mistake. We're just like, it's just water off a duck's back.
Well, let's talk about leadership and in-game management. Just before we do that, I think, Kuva, do you know what? What you just said was so bang on in terms of that one game against Brighton. If ever there was an advert for what a football club is, it was that. It was, look how brilliant we are. An hour later, God, we're rubbish. Right? I said the other day, I won't use the term bipolar because it's a very real disease, but we are a very Jekyll and Hyde football club. We always have been. And the problem is we keep pretending, for me, whoever the manager is, we keep pretending, don't we? Jose sorted out that mentality. Nope. Conte sorted out that mentality. Nope. Ange's different. He sorted out. Nope. It's, for me, and I'll lead this as a segue into leadership and in-game management. For me, guys, I don't think Spurs have any. I'm going to say leaders, but I want to go on from that and say I don't think we've got any nasty. I don't think we've got any niggly players. I don't think we've got any players, players that really piss off opposition. Like, I'm not saying I want this guy, but look at Bruno Fernandes with his dark arts. He pisses everybody off. Look at Arsenal. Look at Arsenal. What they've Arteta's mastered that with them in the when to go down to pretend to be injured. And I know it's annoying, but again, he's got loads of men in there that can be nasty. Rice can put his foot in. Partey can be nasty. Yeah.
Sorry, they've just started drilling here. If you hear anything,
no, I can't hear it, mate. You're all good. You're all good. You look at City. City have got that blend of lovely footballers, but with that, Haaland's got that nasty in him, and he wants the fight. He's in there. He's ready. The boys at the back love the fight. Walker loves it. Kovacic loves it. I think we've built a team of nice footballers.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can describe it, lads. Porro's a nice guy.
Here's a way to look at it, Savva. I don't need to really hear your answer. When I say, what's been my favourite Spurs team in my lifetime? If I ask you, what's been mine?
Yours?
Yeah.
I reckon is probably, oh God, this is, are we talking recent or going back?
No, we're going back, mate.
Okay, I'm going to go with the sort of 91 or the late 80s, that type of era.
80s, yeah. What the 80s had, we saw players on our team like Glenn Hoddle, Mickey Hazard, Ozzy Ardiles,
all the flair.
Chrissy Waddle, great flair players, exciting players, skillful players. But then you threw in the Paul Millers, the Graham Roberts, the Stevie Perrymans, people that could roll their sleeves up. They had real grit and determination about them. We've got that 80s team at the moment without the grit. So we got players with a bit of talent, not Hoddle-like talent. Nobody's got that. I think Hoddle puts De Bruyne to shame, to be honest. But that's a bit biased. I don't see any of that sort of ability to just gather the players together, rally them for either through their own performance on the pitch, showing leading by example, or just having that mouth on them to tell players what's what and have the respect and authority to demand it from players on the spot without question. Stevie Perryman was the best captain I've ever seen, certainly at our club. And he didn't need to go shouting and screaming all match. He would just say something, and the whole team listened. His word was like the word of God on the pitch. He was the voice of the manager. And then you look at it now, people look around when something goes wrong. Remember when we got stuffed at Newcastle the other season, and people looking around each other, Højbjerg's looking at the defenders, and he's laughing because it's so comical. You wouldn't see back then. You would see angry inquests on the spot and pull yourself together. We've got a game on here. We don't
that bled through to the fans. We lose games like Brighton, and instead of the inquest is what's going on, it's straight away back every player, back every manager. Fine, back them, but acknowledge that things need to change. We've got a lot of people now in this fan. Don't get me wrong, I'm not blaming the fans, Kuva. This is from owners through to directors of football, through to managers, the players. It's now seeped into the fans that we want nice. And Ben, we want nice, don't we? We are sitting here now as fans. Everyone's thing is, like that comment I read out to you, it almost said, forget results. We're playing some nice football.
I don't think we are playing nice football. We've started in patches, starting to play some really quite stylish stuff with a lot of the flicks when Werner gets the ball, Johnson gets the ball, and he flicks it behind for one of the full. This is one of my problems. I hate inverted fullbacks. I put myself on this pedestal. Every time we lose, I see inverted fullbacks. every time we win, I see non-inverted fullbacks. For me, either I've got a massive agenda, which I will put my hands up if I've got a massive agenda about it. But every single time we lose, inverted fullbacks seem to be the major play of the team. I don't know if I am just seeing things because I incessantly hate them. When I see Destiny Udogie, a really good wing back, someone that has got loads of strength, speed, power, I don't want to see him next to Dominic Solanke playing as a striker. I want him to see him going down the wing.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just me, but are you seeing this? That every time we lose, we seem to be playing with inverted fullbacks, or it's madness, isn't it? We play really well for a few games, not playing them as much. You'll see them come inside once in a while and then driving outside, but you never see like Porro hanging about like as a striker. Yesterday was gaping that Udogie was not defending. He was playing as a striker.
He's not a defender. He's again. Listen, I think we'll come to Porro and Udogie in a minute because I think they're a huge issue for Spurs. And I know people will take that the wrong way. I think Pedro Porro is a fantastic footballer. But I think he's a huge issue in terms of position. But this is the thing, Kuva, right? I think like we've got half of it right in terms of all right, we've got Madison and Kulu in the team, and you've got Son in there. They're all quite slight players that like to get on the ball and make things happen. But then you look throughout the team, I don't see any voices, any leaders. We leave Bentancur in the midfield on his own. And we spoke about this on WhatsApp just now. Again, a nice footballer. I don't want Bentancur as my main man in midfield on his own, running the game, being the tackler, being the guy who gets his foot in. Surely, the teams of old Kuva, we've had a Wanyama next to a Bentancur type that does all that work, and then Bentancur can get on the ball and do his thing. We've had a Scotty Parker that's played in and alongside a Modric or a Huddleston. You know, like you said there, the likes of Perryman back in the day and all these types of players. I feel like we've gone very lightweight, Kuva, very, very lightweight. And because of that, when we're winning, this is what I'll say to the fan base. I know I'll get loads of shit for this. When we're winning, our fans get very excited, right? When we're winning in a game, like 2-0 up against Brighton. I think we all love it and the football's great and everything's great. We seem to have forgotten that that's great for a snapshot of time, Kuva. To win trophies, to win titles, you can't have the in-game management that Tottenham have got. You simply can't. You can't, can you? Maybe you can. I don't know.
You'd have to make a case for what in-game management on Sunday.
Agreed.
There was I don't think anybody other than Ange could have possibly been sat there thinking, we'll just leave this as it is and be patient.
Yeah.
I mean, you could see it after we conceded the first goal, we'd start going to pieces. At that point, you'd expect to see either the players having a huddle or something. It's like captain pulling them in saying, we've got to put this right, not cut all this crap out.
Yeah.
Or you've got to see the manager making changes. And we just got neither. And
what Jose would do, isn't it, Kuva? He'd make 5 changes if he saw that before.
Yeah, hell yeah.
He'd make 5 changes. Get off. All of you lot, get off.
I think almost every manager would, but not Ange. I just don't get it.
Only
so
make a change in the 78th minute, Kuva. That's just a disgrace.
It's become more than frustrating now. And about the performance in general, I kind of disagree with you a bit there, Ben, about the inverted wing backs. Perhaps it is a bit of an agenda now, but there is some basis for it, I'll admit. But what struck me again, as it has earlier times this season as well, it's the quality of the defending. It's the basics that are so bad. Centre forward left unmarked for a header in the 6-yard box. What? Both central defenders were there. Somebody's got to take responsibility. Romero's completely napping. When he's on form, when he feels like it, he's brilliant. When he doesn't feel like it, he looks like a 4 out of 10 player.
1 week before he goes to Argentina national duty, he doesn't get stuck in, does he? Because he doesn't want to get injured.
Yeah, seems to be the way.
Overrated centre. I'm sorry, this guy is. You know when people call him world class, Kuva? Sorry, world class players. World class players don't have this many off days. I don't watch Liverpool and see Virgil van Dijk have this many games where you go, God,
it feels like he's sulking at times, doesn't it?
Agreed. And if you don't want to be there, do you know what? I don't care. I don't think he's that great. That listen, if a player like Harry Kane didn't want to be there, I'd never be like, oh, just get rid of him. If Romero don't want to be there and he thinks he's better than he is and he wants to be at Real Madrid or whatever club, go. Lots of goals this season have come from him. But again, our fans are so protective that we can't acknowledge it's not, Romero didn't do anything wrong. The defense is great. The midfield, there's nothing wrong with it. Ange didn't do anything wrong. Then here's the question. If all of those things are true that I'm told on a daily basis, why has this been the worst start to a Premier League season since, funnily enough, since we won our last trophy? 17 years.
Ref robbed us.
The ref. It's the ref's fault in every game. Yeah.
I will actually disagree with you, Savva, on one point. Romero is world class for Argentina, whereas the other world class players around him. For Tottenham, and people were saying this the other day, Romero should be captain. Romero is twice the player when he's got the armband. No, he isn't.
No.
He was hiding versus Brighton. Like, what leader of a team, when you goes racing out of the back to try and win the ball, when you're under the cosh, leaving your other three defenders short and then leave a massive space for them to play into.
Ben, do you know what? Is it intelligence? Because do you know what? 3 times in that first half I saw this and called it out every time. You're right. He steps out into midfield when there's no need to, didn't win the tackle, and the ball was played in behind, and now Spurs are at 6s and 7s with Van der Ven, who's at centre-half, and Porro and Udogie, who are playing like wingers. Like, is it intelligence? Is he sulking? Like, I don't care what anyone says. He is not world class, and this guy is not performing. I'm not just blaming him, by the way, but he's not performing, and constantly he's revered. Oh my God, he's better than Saliba. He's better than Gabriel. No, not in any way, shape, or form. Sorry,
it's not built on individuals, is it, Savva? It's built on partnerships. All the best partnerships are built on. And if you do that to your defensive partner, you're leaving your partner out to dry, because what you're doing is you're putting all the responsibility on the Van der Ven and his multiple hamstring injuries to bust a gut to cover you, because instead of just saying, right, let's manage this properly, the ball's in front of us. When the ball is in front of you and you've got your back to goal, that's what the one thing you do not want is the ball played in behind you and facing towards your own goal. And with Romero coming out into space needlessly, he's forcing Van der Ven to do what a defender doesn't want to do, which is face their own goal and be making a sprint.
Agreed.
So he is actually doing the opposite of what every single defender is taught. Keep the ball in front of you, manage the space, and make them shoot from distance. Make them shoot from distance, because they can't get in behind you.
But Ben, doesn't Romero, you know what I said to Kuva there about his analogy of Spurs first half versus second half literally sums up Tottenham Hotspur, right? Doesn't Romero sum up Tottenham as well? Sometimes he's absolutely brilliant. Sometimes he's shit. And for me, that is all our players.
Sometimes maybe good. Sometimes maybe.
Mate, we are just, again, it is consistency. It is consistency. We've got a lot of players. And Kuva, I'm going to ask you, you can see we are drilled going forward. I think we're drilled on what to do, how to pull defences out, how to slip balls through. I think we're drilled quite well. I'm going to say the opposite, and I'm going to ask your opinion on this. I don't think he does any work in terms of in our own half. We, for me, as soon as the ball goes in our own half, every time I think we look at 6s and 7s, whether it's Qarabag, whether it's Coventry, whether it's Brighton, I feel we look at 6s and 7s.
Literally, if you want to be an armchair manager, you look at the transition when the opposition gets the ball and goes immediately. Look at just the shape of our back four and the defensive midfield. You'll notice in other teams, they are back in position almost instantly.
Yeah.
They'll have a bank of 4, maybe a bank of up to 4 just ahead of them, or at least 3. They'll have some sort of consistent shape to the team and some way of defending. With us, it's guesswork if we're going to have anybody be there at all. We've got so many people committed forward that when we do lose the ball, it's a crisis if we haven't pressed them and won it back instantly.
Yeah.
So we do lack that stability at the back there. Is it being coached? It's got to be coached, hasn't it? But they're clearly not coached very well, or the players aren't up to it. So how this has been working for him in the past, I don't know. You can only assume it's
the quality of opposition.
It's got to be, hasn't it?
If listen, I watched Celtic on Sunday, and I watched Celtic because I had them in my ACCA, right? I watched Celtic, and Celtic were god awful in the first half. They were god awful. But you know what? I sat there. I was sitting with my uncle, and I turned around and I said, "We all know they're going to win this game. Don't like." They were 1-0 down to Ross County, and you're thinking, you know they're going to win it. Second half, they just turned up the temperature a tiny bit, and they won the game 2-1 in the end, right? Because that's the level they're playing against. And the problem is, Kuva, if you actually look at Karabag, Coventry, and Ferencvaros, if we look at those three teams, look how many chances those three teams had against us. Look how many times they got in behind us. The difference is they've not got the quality to finish. Brighton had Minte, Matoma, and Welbeck, who did have the quality to finish. And for me, this goes down to not only in-game management, but it comes down to this, gentleman, and we've got to talk about this because this is, I cannot believe how many fans back this level of nonsense from a manager. I mean, he's talking about the substitution, saying they're irrelevant to him, saying that what was the point of making a substitution because we didn't deserve the point and he doesn't want undeserved rewards. What sort of message is that, guys, coming from the manager? The players are hearing that it doesn't really matter that we didn't get the point. It doesn't matter because we didn't deserve it. Jose wouldn't do that, would he?
That is the point in the substitutions. Ben was bang on earlier when he said Conte would have just put 5 substitutes on. Totally changed the shape of the game in one swoop. Why does he not do that? I don't get it. I do not get it. I mean, expecting a response from them when you've seen a year of them doing this just doesn't cut it anymore.
No.
For me, that quote is a slap in the face to every single fan that bought a ticket to go to Brighton.
Agreed.
Every single fan that bought a train ticket. Oh, the team didn't deserve it, so we're going to give you a loss, fans. You've got to go all the way back home on the train. I know it's not, I don't know how much a train ticket to Brighton costs, but train tickets are ridiculous. There's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. The ticket's 30 quid. They say the train ticket's another 30. It's 60 quid they've had to spend. It's a lot of money in this day of age. And you're saying you're going to punish the fans because the team's not playing well because of your management. So you're literally punishing the fans at this rate because most fans do not care. If we play badly and win, they'll be happy that we won. We won. We say we won a game of football. It happens.
But Ben, our fans at the moment are opposite. Our fans literally do not care.
Not the fans that go to most games, though, Savva. Most fans that go to the game are probably absolutely.
I hear you, but what a sad indictment that when you turn around and say things like the title of this show, that this is the worst start in 17 years, you get loads of comments. Watch how many comments will be, yeah, but we play good football. We've come away from being...
That's the thing, isn't it, Savva? What's good football to one man is not good football to another bloke.
Or you've got an agenda. You know, you can't actually point out something that's a fact without it being an agenda now.
Yeah. Sure. But Kuva, let me go here. If it wasn't bad enough what he said after the game, right? By the way, I remember the days, I'm sure you guys do, when you're looking for a goal and you're 1 down with 10 minutes to go. Every single forward player you've got on the bench is thrown on and the ball is launched and you are launching, but you know what I mean? You are corners, launching.
One of your centre halves goes up as a number 9 as well. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. Bring on Radu Dragusin for me. Stick him up front. No, none of that. What we're going to do, he's going to do nothing at 2-1. Fair enough. Nothing at 2-2. Completely not acceptable. Nothing at 3-2. For me, that's sackable. Then he waits 16 minutes to bring on 2 box-to-box midfielders.
And a 17-year-old.
No, but he didn't bring on the 17-year-old till
For the
4.5
minute,
minutes to go. And at that time, he's then taken off Maddison, who's your creative footballer. This guy is almost self-sabotaging for me. But Kuva, if that wasn't bad enough, this is the absolute god-awful nonsense he came out with before the game. Look at this. He was asked, with the way the teams play, there's an expectation that this may be an open contest. So how do you keep the game controlled? We don't. Let's keep it open. That way we entertain everyone and hopefully we get a result. Kuva, he is telling opposition managers that Spurs have no interest in controlling a game of football, that we have no in-game management. We just want to entertain. Sorry, this is a loser's mentality for me. I'm so fed up with this bloke. Go on. Sorry.
I would have been okay for that if he hadn't used the word hopefully. If he just said we're going to entertain and we're going to win, I'm all for it. That's 100%. But no, hopefully we do. It's okay. Let's hope for the best. Might as well select the team with the dice. You know.
I mean, for me and you are in the same. What's it called? In the same boat. Harry Redknapp's football was far better than Ange Postecoglou's football.
Sure.
Far better. But we still controlled games of football with Modric's, with Huddleston's, with Ledley Kings at the back. We still controlled games of football whilst playing great football with two.
In that team, Ben, everyone was their actual position. You had Chorluka and Ben Warasser who were
just the problem, though. That's just the problem, though, isn't it? Look at the first half, and that worked.
Yeah, but Kuva, teams can't keep up that intensity that we play with for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
You watch City, Man City, and I always use them because they've got to be the benchmark for playing good football and winning, right? Man City will have moments in games where for 15, 20 minutes it's going to be an onslaught on your goal. They're going to have you pinned into your final third. You're not going to see the football. They're going to keep it. Then they have times where they drop 20 yards to the halfway line, and Kovacic and Rodri will see a lot more of the football on the halfway line. They've got the back 3-4 that are there, and they're just passing it around. Right? People go,
comes back to what Ben said though. 5 substitutes, throw them on. There you go. You've refreshed the team then.
No, I get it. But even playing that style of football, that pressing, teams don't do it for 90 minutes. The top teams, you look at Arsenal. Arsenal right now, have games where they have 20 minutes where you go, oh yeah, Arsenal are good. They're slick. They play really good stuff. Then they have 20 minutes where you go, God, Arsenal are defensive. But it's in-game management from the players. How do you manage a game?
They get paid enough. Make them run to their
No. This is elite level football. You've got to manage scenarios.
Of course you have.
The best ever team I've ever seen is probably Pep Guardiola's Barca team.
Agreed.
Not even they pressed. They would relentlessly press, score 3 goals, and then they would pass the ball for 50, 60 minutes of the game, and then make the other team press them because they were chasing the ball. Pass. Because when you've got the ball, they ain't, in the words of my uncle.
And they're getting tired.
Yeah, they're getting tired because you're passing the ball, little triangles, demoralising them. That's what we should do. We've got some good footballers in the team. Pass. It's not going to... And I know he wants to win every game 7-3 because Ange, for some reason, thinks he's Kuva 99, which is, firstly, that's copyright infringement to Ange Postecoglou. There's only one man that wants to win every game 7-3, and it's on this show. The only way is XG every Tuesday. But that's what we should do. We go up, pass them to death, make them chase the ball, make them chase it, and then tire them out. And then when they get tired, that's when you put on your quick players and you hit them on the counter. And you
know what? I actually think we do try to do that. It's just the moment we get put under pressure, that passing goes out of the window. We're dreadful from that point on. And it's just this panicked, shambolic mess constantly. And players looking like all they're doing is defending and then clearing the ball halfway down the pitch. And and we see it time and time again, unfortunately. That is character. That is complete lack of belief in yourselves when you are under a bit of pressure.
But it
And
also comes
it
back
doesn't look
to
like it's
position and
changing.
defense, Kuva, doesn't it? Like when you watch these teams do it, like even when we were getting, Brighton had that 20-minute spell, didn't they, in that second half? First 20 minutes of the second half, where they were overrunning us on the right, on the left, in the middle. Belieber in the middle looked absolutely sensational.
Yeah.
And Bentancur, Kulu, and Maddison looked shot from the foot. They looked gone. They looked gone, right? Then once they got the 3 goals, for the next 10 minutes, if you go back and watch the game, the next 10 minutes, they kind of just didn't do a lot, Brighton. Then after they'd regathered a little bit of energy, they started hitting us again. And this is the thing. At that stage, I want to see Porro at right back. I want to see Udogie at left back. I want to see one of my midfielders to drop in with Bentancur. But we don't. What we do is we go, right, Bentancur, you're there on your own. Maddison and Kulu, you're up there. Udogie and Porro are caught out. I'm not saying they're inverted or anything, but they're so high up the pitch that Matoma's going, all right, give me the ball. Minte's going, give me the ball.
It was a buffet for Mitoma. It was all you can eat. It was all you can eat.
Superb player. Superb
all you can eat. Every single time, I'm just going to get a bit more. I can eat as much as I want, mate. Just
come on, but we got Timo Werner.
No, but again, I'll say this. If, Ben, I know you need to drop in a second. Kuva, do you need to drop as well? Or...
No, I'm all right for the moment.
I mean, the thing for me, Ben, if Spurs had anything about them as a club, any type of desire, a player like Mitoma, when you get to a summer transfer window, that for me is when we go and you test the resolve. That's where you go to Brighton and go, right, hang on, we're going to pay 65 million for Solanke. That's fine. Right, you know what? Do you know what we're going to do? Instead of buying all those kids, do you know what, Brighton? We need a new left winger. I don't care. Son is on the... I don't care what anyone says. Son is not the son of old. We need a replacement, right? For me, you go to a Brighton and you turn around in the summer and you go, there's 65 million. Oh, we want 80. Cool. You can have that. Then you can start negotiating.
Yeah.
That's the type of player. If we are serious...
Son would love to play with a player like Mitoma. Son and Mitoma would be an amazing partnership because they both get it. They both get it. The way Mitoma would go out wide and Sonny could be more of that sort of left forward. Mitoma can play as that number 10 if he wanted to. Mitoma is such a quality footballer.
Agreed.
I think,
but we don't do it.
We don't buy top players. We don't buy top players. I'm really liking Solanke, but a Mitoma for me is a player that we must go for. And it's not like Brighton
it's not either or for me.
Are a selling club. Tony Bloom has got them into the point where they can just regurgitate all these players. The numbers are so, because unlike Tottenham, who pretend to use data analytics, Tony Bloom has done data analytics for donkey's years because he's a poker player and he has to do it in his head because he was a poker player. He can now go and get another Mitoma. He can now go and get one because they've got the data bank of all these players.
But Ben, it shouldn't be one or the other. It shouldn't be, we're going to get a Solanke or a Mitoma. If Spurs had anything about them heading into a season with 4 competitions, Spurs have gone and bought 3 or 4 kids who from not I can say this, but Ange's actions are proving this, that are not ready to help us out. Right? When we are losing games, I don't see Bergvall coming on or Gray coming on. So essentially what we've just done there is added loads of kids to a bench and acknowledged that, all right, when you're losing 2-0, these aren't the players you're bringing on to help you. And I'm not knocking Bergvall and Gray, but at the weekend, they were nowhere to be seen. That's just summer signings.
Yeah. There's no arguing it, but the manager obviously doesn't think they're ready for the job at that point. Because if he did, he would bring them on. So the proof is in the pudding in those circumstances. I totally agree about the forward line, though. Summer transfer window. I know people were talking about a holding midfielder and maybe a left-sided defender and stuff like that. And I maintain right the way through it, centre forward and at least 1 winger. Both of them top quality. Yeah. Ideally, 2 wingers and a centre forward. Because I still think our forward line is a
should have been all. If we're a proper club,
absolutely. If you want to just
get a defender that can cover 2 or 3 positions at the back. You get a top number 6 in, and you get 2 or 3 forwards in. But what did we do? We did the complete opposite. And people praised it because of the project. Ben, do you need to go?
Yes, I need to go in a sec.
Just quickly before you go, let me ask you this. You've sent me a screenshot. Reports are flying around. We'll come back to Spurs in a minute, me and you, Kuva. Reports are flying round that Anderlecht are in advanced talks to take Ryan Mason as manager. Now, I don't know how reputable that source is that you've sent me, Ben, but Tottenham coach Ryan Mason in advanced talks to become the next Anderlecht manager from Sacha Tavalieri.
There's a few. It's flying about at the moment. This rumor is it's escalated massively on Twitter. Loads of accounts posting it. But
what do you make of it?
Thank God. Get him gone. Get him gone. I never want to see him manage at Tottenham again. I want him gone. For me, he is the epitome of why Tottenham fail. He is the epitome because he gets a job because he's a nice guy, not because he's an accomplished in that role. Every single manager that has been here, Ryan Mason gets a job. For me, the closer we get to people like, and I actually quite like Ryan Mason's actually a nice geezer. I don't want him at my football club. I want accomplished people as the coaches of the football club, and it's time he went.
Yeah, I mean, look, Ben, I'm gonna exit you out in the nicest possible way because I know that you need to go. But big up, thank you for joining as always. Love your take.
I'll catch up with you on your show in a few minutes, Ben. Once Mum lets me go.
Yeah, brilliant stuff.
We're going to finish in 5 minutes anyway, Kuva. Take care, Ben. Much love, dude.
See you
later. Kuva, I mean, it's just, I just find the whole thing quite exhausting. And listen, I'm not the biggest fan of Ange. I think you know that.
Wait a minute. Well, just one quick thing about the Anderlecht thing and Ryan Mason.
Go on.
Wasn't it Vincent Kompany at Anderlecht?
Yes.
Right. My theory is he's talked up Ryan Mason for the job, so it's so horrendous that Vincent Kompany looks even better when he was there. It's got to be. What else makes sense? Why would you want Ryan Mason at this point?
It'll be interesting to see what he does. Somebody there must have said, right, let's find a number 2 somewhere or a coach somewhere. But I don't know. All I know is the other coaches that Ange has brought in so far, I'm not impressed with at all. Is it Nick Montgomery and someone else? And look, at the end of the day, what will be will be. But look, let's move it to Ange and Tottenham. You know I'm not his biggest fan, right? I think it's well known in the world I'm not his biggest fan. I'm not a fan of people who have 45 minutes of good football and then everyone waxes lyrical about them. I'm all about the results, right? That doesn't mean I want to see 10 men be on the ball, but you've got to have results in football. You've got to.
Yeah.
I didn't realise, I'll be honest, until Sky Sports said it on Sunday, Kuva, that this was our worst start for 17 years. In your mind, does it feel like it has been? Is that an indictment on Ange, the fact that he's had 400 million, he's had this team now for over a year without really making changes to it other than Solanke this year? He's had them on the training ground every day last year because we weren't in Europe and traveling, and yet we've not seen an increase in results and points. Are you surprised by it, or are you saw it coming?
Yeah, from what I'm seeing, you can see signs of improvement. You definitely can. The fact is, last season we were having these little patches of football that lasted maybe 2 minutes if we're lucky.
Yeah.
We've seen sustained periods of it this season. Against Brighton, we saw it for a whole half. So there's the kind of that encouragement to make you think things are going better, but then the wheels do come off again. And of course, we don't get the result. And at the end of the day, you're right, it is results. So you've kind of got that taste of both, haven't you? That's what makes it so really confusing watch. It also makes it very confusing to follow at times. Are we going in the right direction? Or do we just look at the result at the end of it and realize, no, we're not? So it's kind of feelings against reality, isn't it? What do you like most? Do you believe in what's happening or don't you? And at the end of the day, I think in the second season, you've got to start seeing an improvement in the results, haven't you? We've got to start picking up a better average points per game than we did last season. That's the only way you can clearly show there is definite progress now. The rest of it is just, how do you feel about what you're watching?
Absolutely. I mean, look, somebody said to me today, I'm just trying to check it. So I'm just trying to check Tottenham. Apparently last season, Tottenham at this stage had 17 points. I don't know if that's right. I'm just trying to think back to the first 7 games last year. I think we drew with Bournemouth.
5 wins, 2 draws. That sounds about right.
Right. So 5 wins, 2 draws. So we had 17 points. So when I look at this table, and again, Kuva, we can talk about playing style, we can talk about goals scored, we can talk about we've lost less to a team than we did last year. But the be-all and end-all is, Kuva, this is elite level football. This is one of the best leagues in the world. And Tottenham, by last year's performance, are one of the best 5 football teams in this country. When you look at that, that means you can see that there. We're down in. Do you want me to blow that up, or can you see it?
No, that's fine. That's fine.
So, look, we are 7 points off where we were last year, and the worrying thing for me is that was our best start ever. We're 7 points off of that, right? Which tells you straight away that this time last year we had 2 extra wins and an extra draw from 7 games. The concerning thing for me in this table, Kuva, again, is if you look at the top 8, right? If you look at the top 8. In the last 5 games in that form table, the top 8 have lost 4 games between them. So they've lost 4 games in 40, that top 8. We've lost 3 in 5, right? These are the headline facts, right? I'm not cherry picking here. The data is right there in front of you. It's been a shit start to the season. Whichever way we want to talk about it, it's not been good, Kuva.
Yeah, that's it. There comes a point where it's no good just having belief, or it's no good just having hope or pointing at things are slightly improving with this statistic or that one. The main statistic is those results. Are you seeing many W's? And we're not. We're seeing some. It's erratic. So really, I'd say pretty much the same as last season. I think last season was without doubt, and I think even the biggest Ange supporter must admit, those first 10 games did kind of mask the rest of the season. We got an elevated sort of start. So it's like being given a head start in a race, isn't it? That's what we'd basically played our way into. Some with good football, some of it was bloody lucky, if we're honest. Thinking about the Sheffield United win when, goals in the 99th minute or whatever it was, is, to get a home win against Sheffield United, relegation fodder. But this season, we should be looking for clear improvements. And like I said, 3 losses already. 3 losses is a lot when you've only played 7. This is Nuno form, and he got sacked for it.
Well, Nuno had 5 wins. Nuno had 5 wins and 5 losses from his first 10 games. So from Nuno's first 10 games, he got 15 points, right? But I'm not saying if Ange gets 15, he should go. But again, it's this whole tempering of expectations. It's the people that are telling me, you don't know Ange, he's brilliant, this is what he does. The problem is, and I'm going to ask this question, Kuva. If last season, when we had the 10 games, right, and we had 8 wins and 2 draws, if I'm not wrong, right, and we were flying.
Yep.
If that start to the last season had been what we're seeing this season, would fans have the same belief in Ange and the same loving that they've got for Ange right now? Because it's give or take 15 days, by the way. Give or take 15 days. We are 12 months since that 10-run game finished. And since then, Kuva, the whole calendar year has been very mediocre. If we're going to be kind, it has been very mediocre. And I believe that across that year, since the end of that 10 games, that our form is something like 9th or 10th in the table. So if he hadn't had that 10 games, would he still have the love and support that he's got now?
Nah, of course not. It'll be, if you've seen for an entire year and however much extra, year and 2 months or whatever, you need to see steady progress in some form or another, don't you?
Agreed.
If it had been in reverse and we spent the whole of our season having very, very dodgy results, and say we finish, somewhere between 10th and 14th, Ange probably would have got away with that because it was like first season then. We'd just come back from a complete shambles. And then he started this season with 8 wins, 2 draws. The place would be going absolutely mental right now. We'd definitely be having trophy talks and everything again, like we always do when we string a run of 1 wins together.
I've never seen a fan base so easily pleased. We win a couple of easy games, and we're the best team in the Europa. We shouldn't fear anyone. Hang on.
We are the flip flop club, though. The football team itself flip flops. So you should do as a fan, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. We're either the best in the world or the worst, and it changes week to week.
Last question before I let you go. Is this playing style sustainable if we have ambitions to finish in Champions League football? Is it sustainable to keep playing this way, even though we can't seem to beat any of the good teams?
Depends who has the ambitions for it, doesn't it?
As a club, if we've got the ambitions of the top 4, if
the chairman wants this, if he wants this, he's going to have to get his checkbook out, isn't he? Because this squad isn't good enough to keep this guy.
But I don't know any squad that's good enough to keep. As we said, Man City don't play like this for 90 minutes. And the thing is, we've seen Ange comes out and says, we don't want to control games. Ange comes out and says, we're going to keep games open. Ange comes out and says these things about not deserving points. For me, that's not the mentality of a man that's going to change. That's not the mentality of the man that is going to realise after 30 years of management or whatever he's got that you can't be gung-ho for 90 minutes. I just can't see it being sustainable from my point of view.
But even the tactic itself, you'd have to look at it and say, surely we do want to be controlling games because we want to play in their half. We can't do that unless we're controlling it. So it doesn't make sense what he's saying, does it?
Yeah, but there's a difference between controlling a game when you're in the ascendancy and controlling a game, for example, when you are 2-0 up. But listen, let's be fair, Kuva. So just quickly, let's be fair. At 2-0 up, no one's saying stick 10 men behind the ball. But I think what you are saying is go out there for the first 10 minutes. Yeah. Don't do anything silly. Fullbacks, don't go too high. We've seen in that first half that Matoma's running at us. Let's not give him that space to run into. Let's keep it at 2-0 for the first 10 minutes. Silence the crowd. But we don't. We come out, we go gung-ho, and then Brighton get one, game changes. That's what I mean by controlling.
Hell with that. Just go gung-ho. I'm all for that. If we go 2-0 up, go for a third. Hey, I'm not going to change. That's what I want to see.
Well, that's why we're not going to win things, though, right?
The trouble is, it comes down to it again. Basic stuff we are not doing. It's not even the tactic that was so badly at fault. You look at what a Doggy's bit of defending. Well, twice you'd say him. You look at Romero's lackadaisical defending to let Welbeck have a free header. That's not high line causing that. That's not inverted wing backs. That's not pressing high up the pitch and in playing with an intensity up the pitch. That's just not doing your job, isn't it? It's
sure. But there are tactical tweaks there, Kuva, like in terms of when you've seen the last 15 minutes of the first half, we've seen Matoma beat Porro for fun, right?
Oh, sure. When you've suddenly conceded that goal and you suddenly go into pot, yeah, then you definitely change it, don't you? You'd have to say this.
I'm saying before that, we got the warning signs from Matoma at the end of the first half. He stuck in 3 wonderful crosses after beating Porro.
True.
Welbeck missed a sitter. The other 2 we cleared. And I'm thinking at half time, I'm turning around and going, right, listen, Porro, just drop 5. Do not give him space. Make him beat you with a trick rather than pace.
You know what I would have done? What I would have done? Taken Werner off, brought on even Archie Gray and just said, sit on Matoma.
This is my point. This is my point because that's the point I was getting at. Surely at some point you turn around and go, right, I'm going to put on, I don't care if it's Basuma, Gray, Sarr, somebody, right, sorry, Johnson, sorry, Werner, whoever. But look, we need somebody that's going to literally sit in front of Porro and double up on Matoma. He doesn't do that, mate. We don't do that.
Yeah, true.
We don't do that.
But
And
the thing is, you could do that and still go relatively gung ho. Be going gung ho with the safety at the back as well. It's kind of contradictory, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
there's certain things you've got to identify as being really big problems.
Mate,
and you see time and time again, nothing's done about it this season, all last season. Funny enough, you can't even say Conte was perfect with this either. Remember when we're chasing a 1-0 deficit against Milan and he brings on Davinson Sanchez and you're thinking, what's going on at this club?
I agree. My only issue is this manager's got a better squad than the managers have had since Poch's peak. That's the problem for me. And what we do as a fan base, we keep every time we sign a player, Kuva, I keep hearing that, this is an Ange player. This is an Ange player. He plays Ange ball. He's perfect. At some point, Kuva, the talk has to stop and we've got to see results. You can't live by just beating all the teams that are worse than you. We're not that good to do that. Man City can. Man City can beat all of the rest of the 15 below them because there's 15 below them. Spurs are only beating the 10 below them.
Yeah, I think wasn't it the last team to manage that without beating anybody in the top 4 or something like that was Chelsea?
Possibly.
If I remember rightly.
Possibly.
Yeah, I think Mourinho.
I'm not saying we have to beat the top 4. I'm talking about Newcastle's. I'm talking about Brighton.
Oh yeah, I mean we are bang average. That's it.
Yeah.
That is our level. So until something drastic changes, let's get used to it. We'll have a little run of nice games again and knock a few goals in and get a few wins, and it'll be fantastic again. Then we'll play somebody big again, get our pants pulled down, and back to square one again. That's Spurs, though, isn't it?
Absolutely. And by the way, just to end the show, what I would say is here, I would say that we will beat West Ham, right? I think we will beat West Ham. They won't press us. Teams that press us, I think we struggle against. And Brighton, didn't they half press us in that second half? For me, we will win that game and then the pendulum will swing again and everyone's in love and we're going to win the league. I just need some consistency. And I'm not...
So I was going to say character. Yes, character again, though, isn't it? You can also see the scenario where, we go 1-0 up against West Ham. They equalise and we crumble again. You can see that happening just as easy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm just looking at it from a point of view that, this is a West Ham team. Look, they've conceded 11 goals so far, but they seem to have stemmed it a little. In the last 4 games, they've only lost 1. In the last 4 games, they've started to introduce some of their newer players like Wan-Bissaka and Todibo and Somerville into the 11 a bit more. Last thing I'll say, if I'm the West Ham manager right now, Kuva, all I'm doing for the Spurs game is saying, right, sit in. Yeah, sit in, a bank of 4, and then when we counter-attack, Bowen, Kudos, and Somerville. That's all I would do if I was a manager playing against Spurs. So, look, I think we'll beat them, but if we don't beat them, serious questions have got to be asked because then we'll be in the bottom half of the table. 8 games gone is what? 8, 16, 24, 32 is just over a fifth of a season. Questions need to be asked. But Kuva, thoroughly enjoyed it. Love you as always. Thank you very much. Please go and subscribe to the Free Spurs Boys. All out gung-ho football. That's all Kuva wants. 7 free scorelines. Let's see if we can get that against West Ham.
Consistent guys, 7 threes.
Absolutely. Please smash the like button. Please subscribe. There'll probably be a little bit less content this week due to internationals, but catch me when you can. I'll have some premieres. And as always, come on, you Spurs, and leave you out.
Dan's train. Choo choo.